Barbie. Chloe. Period I, period 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 period I, period. Got my name up in your mouth, you don't know no better. Don't forget I'm from the south, yeah, I got them headers. You watching everything I do, studying all of my moves. Wish you could do what I do. Period I, period period I, period period I, period period I, period.
Hello, litigators and opinionators. Man, I really wanted to come and get my input on this about Alec Baldwin getting charged with involuntary manslaughter. I mean, I think the prosecutor did the right thing by charging him. Any person that, handles a firearm, they have a certain responsibility. It's pretty much autopilot. When you handle a gun, there's certain safety measures that you have to take. For example, making sure you check to see if the gun is in fact clear, number one. Number two, not pointing it at certain individuals, even if you do believe that it is a clear gun, a clean gun. And I mean, I don't think, even though Baldwin expressed his empathy, we have to send a message to society that handling a gun comes with severe consequences when there's negligence exerted. Although the human side of me feels a little bad for Baldwin, because I know he did not intend at all for this tragedy to happen. It was truly an honest mistake, but it was a very deadly mistake that cost the life of a young lady. And it's very sad on both sides, because the human nature of me wants to have empathy for Baldwin, but at the same time, a life was taken and he did not use care in that firearm. And I think the prosecutor took the right step by charging him with involuntary manslaughter because it wasn't intentional. So this is the most applicable charge he could have received. My question is, why did they wait an entire year to charge him? Any person under normal circumstances, if they were under these same conditions, without the status that he has, they would have been charged immediately. They waited an entire year, in my opinion, giving him more privilege and favoritism than other people. But I'm really bringing the story because I'm more interested in what you guys have to say more than anything. Because I'm curious of all the different perspectives about this tragedy. Hi, Madame. How are you doing, love? It's so good to see you in the chat. Okay, so Madame is in agreement. She's glad that Alec is getting his due. Too bad it took 3 years. Oh yeah, 3 years, right? It took too long. It was 3 years? I thought it was a year. Why did I think it was a year? Didn't this happen last year? Okay, but yeah, I'm with you, Madame. I don't understand why it took so long. That's the part, because I feel like they favored him. Okay, they favored this guy. And just because of his clout. So let's read this article, because I know Daily Mail is going to give us some details and all juicy stuff. So let's get into it. An actor doesn't get a pass. Rust prosecutor tears into Alec Baldwin, saying he did pull the trigger on gun that unalived Helena Hutchins. And it's so sad, guys, because on this set, there had been previous complaints about their concerns about the negligence and the mishandling of different firearms on the set. So they already had prior notice about this, yet they didn't take any significant, careful steps to ensure the safety of the staff. So that, to me, gives more reason for why he should have been charged. But I feel like he should have been charged way before now. They waited way too long, thereby giving this guy favoritism, in my opinion. Okay. As he vows to fight involuntary manslaughter charges, calling them a miscarriage of justice. Helena Hutchins was shot dead on October 21st, 2021. Okay, that was over a year ago, by actor Alec Baldwin. In the 15 months since, there have been numerous lawsuits, accusations, investigations, and police reports. Baldwin and Gutierrez, freed, face up to 5 years in prison if convicted. Now, I have a question, guys. Do you think he's even going to spend any day in jail? I mean, I think they're going to give him a jail sentence. But again, I feel like there has been repeated favoritism in this man. There is no way, guys, they should have waited 15 months to charge this man. He should have been charged 15 months ago, like right when it happened. I don't know. And then I'm doubting that he's even going to get a significant sentence. He might get a couple months in prison and some community service. I highly doubt he's going to get much. We'll see, though. I'd be surprised if they actually give him a significant sentence. I would be very surprised. Dave Halls has pleaded guilty to 1 count of negligence use of a deadly weapon. The Santa Fe prosecutor charging Alec Baldwin with voluntary manslaughter for the Rust shooting of Helena Hutchins tore into him today, saying an actor doesn't get a free pass, as she insisted he did pull the trigger on the gun that fired. Baldwin has vowed to fight the charges, calling them a terrible miscarriage of justice. So here you have Alec Baldwin still coming out and speaking about it, and he claims it's a miscarriage of justice. He seems to be very arrogant. He hasn't really taken any accountability. It seems that he's continually blamed other people, and he hasn't really looked within to truly take accountability. When you're handling a gun, it doesn't matter what someone else said. You have certain responsibilities. For example, not pointing it at someone. He claims he didn't pull the trigger, but based upon the investigations from the FBI, there's no way you could not have pulled that trigger. So again, he's not really taking responsibility. He says he's going to fight the charges, which is going to lead probably to a significant sentence at that, because if he is going to fight it, then any plea bargaining options are off the table, which means it sets him at risk of having a longer sentence when he's convicted. Despite prosecutors announcing the charges, it remains unclear how and why live rounds ever made it into the set. Right, that's the question I have, because it appears as though the individual who was responsible for checking the gun claimed that it was clear. So did he ever check the gun? It seems that he didn't. He failed to check the gun. And there had been repeated negligence like this on the set leading up to this tragedy, according to witnesses. So it's unclear how and why there was live rounds in there and whether Bald pulled the trigger. He insists he did not and has refuted an FBI report which claims he must have. Well, they got the FBI on this, guys. That means they really took their time. That's probably why it took the year, guys, because that's why. Because when they are really trying to solidify a case, they do take their time. So it makes sense why it's taken 15 months now. So strike what I said at the beginning, now that I know the FBI is on this case. Dave Halls, the assistant director, has pleaded guilty to the charge of negligent use of a deadly weapon. In a statement, Baldwin's attorney said, "This decision distorts Helena Hutchins' tragic death." I know she should not have died, guys. This is so sad that this innocent young girl in her 20s died, man. That's so messed up. Her life taken away because of pure negligence. It represents a terrible... Oh, wait. So in a statement, Baldwin's attorney... So Baldwin's attorney came and spoke, guys. Let's hear what Baldwin's attorney has to say. So Baldwin's attorney says, "This decision distorts Helena Hutchins' tragic death and represents a terrible miscarriage of justice. Mr. Baldwin has no reason to believe there was a live bullet in the gun or anywhere on the movie set." And I mean, I think he's true, because I agree with him on that. That's why I have empathy for him. But still, whenever you have a gun, it's just you're trained to always treat it as if it is a live gun, even if you don't have reason to believe it is not a live gun. You are trained to treat it like it's a live gun, no matter what. So here's the prosecutor on the case. Her name is Mary Camargue Altwies, the first judicial district attorney in New Mexico. She's standing firm. She said in an interview with CNN, an actor doesn't get a free pass just because they're an actor. And she vowed to take the case to trial. So she has done an interview. It's interesting she's done an interview, guys, because it's quite contrary to what she said. She didn't want to do any press conferences because she wanted to respect the family. But then she turns around and does an interview. So make it make sense, you guys. It's so contradictory. Here's Alec Baldwin. I mean, I don't think he's a bad guy. I mean, I know he made a mistake and he truly wished he could take it back, but I'm pretty sure he was notified of the repeated complaints on the set that there was a lot of negligence regarding the firearms and people were concerned about it. And some people even left the job. They left. They quit because it was so dangerous. So He knew better. I feel like he had warning. But he's 64 years old. He's vowed to fight the involuntary manslaughter charges that will be filed against him by the end of the month. So he is going to adamantly fight this charges, guys. We're going to see a trial. Hopefully it will be publicized. I'm pretty interested in seeing it be publicized to see what in fact happens during the trial. What do you guys think about this? Do you think he should be charged, or do you feel like he shouldn't? The gun fired by Baldwin on the Rush set shooting. So here is the gun, guys. Here is the gun that led to this horrific tragedy. It's so sad, man. These actors and different movie sets need to really take precaution. He relied on the professionals with whom he worked, who assured him the gun did not have live rounds. We will fight these charges and we will win. That is what Alec Baldwin's attorney says. That he relied on the professionals. He was assured the gun did not have live rounds, and that he is going to adamantly fight these charges and they're going to win. That's what his attorney says. But Mary Carmick Aldwis, the first official district attorney in New Mexico, she is also standing firm. So this is going to be a very contentious battle of the attorneys and the expert for this trial. In an interview after the announcement with CNN, she said Baldwin did pull the trigger and that he ran a fast and loose set that was plagued with safety issues. And that's going to really get him, guys, because like I said, there had been many complaints. So the prosecutor is going to call all of those different employees that left the job because of it. There was such a lack of safety and safety standards on that set. There were live rounds on the set. They were mixed in with rounds. Wow. So they mixed in the dummy rounds with real rounds, guys. Live rounds. They didn't even check. They said nobody was checking those, or at least they weren't checking them consistently. That is a problem, guys. They somehow got loaded into a gun, handed off to Alec Baldwin. He did not check it. And you're not supposed to rely upon the professionals. And I know he thought he should, but no, whenever you have a gun, you are responsible for that gun. I mean, I understand that certain sets, they have different standards, but it is what it is when you take certain shortcuts like he did. He just relied upon someone else, which was a very deadly mistake that he did. He said, nobody was checking those consistently. They somehow got loaded into a gun, handed off to Alec Baldwin. He didn't check it. He didn't do what he was supposed to do to make sure he was safe or make sure everyone else on the set was safe. He pointed the gun at Helena Hutchins and he pulled the trigger, she said. Wow. And why did he do that? Why did he point the gun at and pull the trigger? Like, that wasn't even a part of the movie. She's not even in the movie. So that's the part that makes it odd too. She said totality of the circumstances led to the decision, adding, this was a really fast and loose set and that nobody was doing their job. So it sounds like she did a very in-depth investigation, and based upon their 15 months of investigating this set, they found out a lot of information. So we're going to hear all of this in the trial. While it may have been an accident, she said, Baldwin doesn't get a pass because he's a star. Preach. It's about time. Oh, look at this beautiful young lady here. This is sad, guys. I can't say her name right, guys, so don't come for me in the comments. Helena Hutchins was shot dead on October 21st by Alec Baldwin. This is her. That is so sad. A young girl shot dead because of negligence. That is sad. These sets need to be careful because I heard of another actor being killed because of that too. Assistant director Dave Halls and armor Hannah Gutierrez Reed. He has pled guilty to a single charge of negligent use of a deadly weapon, and she has been charged with involuntary manslaughter. Wow, guys. So these two individuals have been charged. I never got to see their pictures, so it's good to see their pictures that these are going to be the other people who are going to be charged. So that is very, very interesting to see these other people that are going to be charged. Just because it's an accident mean it's not criminal. They didn't mean to do it. They didn't have the intent to kill, but it happened anyway. And it happened because of more than mere death. We've talked to many actors, A-list and otherwise, and they have said they always check their guns, or they have someone check it in front of them. See, and this is very important. Other actors and other A-list individuals in the Hollywood industry state that they always check their guns on their own. They're not relying upon, quote unquote, the professionals. They are relying upon themselves to look into it. And they have someone check it in front of them also. So it seems like the set that Baldwin was running didn't have these safety measures in place, that they were just very negligent. An actor doesn't get a pass just because they're an actor. Everyone's equal under the law. Preach. Hannah Gutierrez Reed also vowed to fight the charges. So this young lady here with the firearm, she is going to be fighting the charges too. So it looks like there's going to be two different charges. Girl, two different. Hi, Elena. Hi, love. So there's going to be two different trials, guys. So Alec Baldwin is going to have a very contentious trial. And this young lady here, Miss Gutierrez, she is planning to fight the criminal charges also. So it's going to be very extensive, very long, and we shall see, guys. Nobody's taking responsibility. That's what really hurts me, is that no one's taking responsibility. Just take responsibility and enter a plea. You did not do what you're supposed to do. Other movie sets state that they have a safety measure where they're checking the guns. They're having the individuals check the guns in front of them. They didn't have this same procedure on the Alec Baldwin set. So, and there had been many complaints about this. So they had forewarning. So it's like, okay, at this point, you need to take responsibility at this point. Fighting it just shows that you lack remorse or empathy for this tragedy. Someone died. Like, this is serious. In a statement, her attorney said, Hannah is and always been very emotional and sad about this tragic accident, but she did not commit involuntary manslaughter. I'm very curious to see how the jury sees it, guys, because they may agree with her. They may not say she did, but they may say Alec Baldwin did. So it's just going to be interesting to see how the evidence is presented and see how well her defense attorney litigates the case. I'm just saying. These charges are the result of a very flawed investigation and an inaccurate understanding of the full facts. Well, the FBI is on this, so we shall see. You know, they have a 98% conviction rate. So they obviously took their time, and they took over a year and a half to really investigate. So we intend to bring the full truth to light and believe Hannah will be exonerated of wrongdoing by a jury. Guys, to be honest, I'm pretty curious to see how the jury is going to handle it, guys. I know they're gonna lay it on Alec Baldwin. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a conviction for him. But I'm kind of curious. I mean, she does have responsibility. She has a pretty significant responsibility. So she might be, you know what? She's going to be convicted too. Let's keep it real. She's going to be convicted. She will be convicted. That's true. Let me stop. Okay. But Hannah, she said she's going to fight the charges. She said she's going to bring the truth to light. And she believes she's going to be exonerated of any wrongdoing by the jury. The prosecutors say they are confident with the decision. It was welcomed by Helena's family, who issued a statement through their attorney. So Helena's family is happy that the charges were filed. They wanted these charges filed, and they should, because they felt like, you know, they weren't going to get justice simply because Alec Baldwin is some famous Hollywood star. But it's just a beautiful day to know that their loved one is going to have her voice heard, because what they did was wrong, guys. They were wrong. They knew that this was wrong. They were warned many times, and they just ignored the warning. So it's like, yes, hold them accountable, in my opinion. But I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. We want to thank Santa Fe Sheriff and the District Attorney for concluding their thorough investigation and determining that charges of involuntary manslaughter are warranted for the killing of Helena Hutchins with conscious disregard for human life. Our independent investigation also supports charges are warranted. It is a comfort to that family. In New Mexico, no one is above the law. We support the charges and will fully cooperate with this prosecution fervently hope the justice system works to protect the public and hold accountable those who break the law. And that was the statement from Helena's family through her attorney, that they want to thank the Santa Fe and district attorney for concluding their thorough investigation and for following the charges. And they think it's warranted because Alec handled the gun with a conscious disregard for human life, which in my opinion, I agree with. And they said they did their own independent investigation, which suggests that the charges are warranted. And it is a comfort to the family that in New Mexico, no one is above the law. And that the family of Helena says that they support the charges and they will fully cooperate with the prosecution and fervently hope the justice system works to protect and hold accountable those who break the law. In announcing the charges, Special Prosecutor Andrea Reeb said, if any one of these three people, Alec Baldwin, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, or Halls, has done their job, Helena Hutchins would be alive today. It's that simple. Man, that's powerful, guys. That is a powerful statement. I feel like the prosecutor should open up her opening statement with those words, right? When she gets, to start speaking, and when she talks to the jury, she should look the jury in the face and say, if Alec Baldwin, like for example, when she's prosecuting Alec Baldwin, she would say, if Alec Baldwin had done his job, Helena Hutchins would be alive today. It's that simple. Man, that would captivate the whole jury. They would be like, wow, that's powerful. I hope she starts her opening argument with those words. Baldwin has not been seen today, guys, but his glamorous wife, Hilaria, put on a brave face for the school run shortly before the announcement. So his wife went because he didn't want to be seen out in public because these charges were here. Baldwin is shown on the set of Rust practicing the drawing of the gun. See, you can see like right, he's pointing the gun at someone and he's got his hand right there on the trigger. That's right there. That is evidence right there. Or he's going to claim he didn't pull the trigger, somebody else did, basically. Make it make sense, y'all. Baldwin left with and other actors from the film before the fatal accident. So here was, oh man, this is sad seeing her pictures, man. This poor girl died because of negligence. So sad, guys. The evidence clearly shows a pattern of criminal disregard for safety on the Rust film set. In New Mexico, there is no room for film sets that don't take our state's commitment to gun safety seriously, the prosecutor added. Prosecutors have not formally filed the charges. They will do so by the end of the month. So why are they taking so long? They know that. Why are they telling us now if they're going to take another 2 weeks? Come on now. There is a very process for pursuing justice in this case. We are committed to building the integrity of that process to ensure equal justice under the law. Carmack Altwist. After that, the three defendants will have to make a first appearance, but they will be allowed to do so virtually. Baldwin, who is 64, and again, he's kind of older, guys, so I'm about this older man serving jail, but still, he took a life of a young girl. He took the life of a young girl because of negligence. So Baldwin, 64, accidentally shot and killed Helena Hutchins on the set of the Western movie in October 2021. In the 15 months that have passed, he empathetically denied responsibility for the accident, insisting he did not pull the trigger despite a forensic FBI analysis of the prop gun he used, concluding that he did. Wow. Do you think or suppose whoever gave him the gun pulled the trigger first and he didn't know it and then No, because he would have had to press that part. Yeah, he would have had to press it. I don't know why he's insisting he didn't do it unless he doesn't know how to handle a gun, right? What do you guys think? Do you guys think Alec Baldwin is lying, or do you believe him that he didn't pull the trigger? I'm curious what y'all have to say. Baldwin was sued by Helena's widower, Matthew, in 2022, but settled the lawsuit with an undisclosed sum. He also made Matthew an executive producer on the film, which will resume in Los Angeles. Oh, Lord, guys. So they made Helena's husband an executive producer, but this just makes me more scared because I'm like, well, now are you going to unalive him and say it was an accident? Seriously, they better change their safety procedures after this. Just saying, I'm still going to proceed. Okay? Prosecutors have resisted criticism of the long delay in making a decision. Yeah, I just criticized them about that. But it took a long time now because the FBI is on the information, and it does have some pretty intricate facts that they had to really study, pretty in-depth background investigation, and they pretty much probably had to interview all the people that were on the set and previous individuals who were on the set who eventually left the job because of their fears of how negligent these guns were being used on the set. They say that they were forced to wait for reports from both the FBI, which took 10 months, and the local Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office, which took a year. Okay, see, we already knew it was going to take a long because the FBI right here. That's all they had to do was say FBI, and we already know it's going to take time. So it took the FBI 10 months, y'all, to provide reports, and it took the local Santa Fe Sheriff's Office a year. Okay, well, that wasn't on the prosecutor then. There were no press conference to announce the decision today. I don't know why they didn't do a press conference. They said they wanted to respect the family, but then she does an interview. So I'm like, how was doing an interview respecting them? You should have just did a press conference, okay? You could have had, and if the family felt comfortable, you could have had them talk about how, what they would wish to see happen out of the conviction. Instead, the DA's office issued a written statement to media, which was also published online. Along with Baldwin, several others were on the hook for charges. There are Assistant Director Dave Halls, who handed Baldwin the gun for the fatal scene, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, a young, careless armorer who was in charge of loading the weapons, guys. So she was in charge of loading the weapons. Oh, yeah, she's going to be convicted. Oh, yeah, she is. She was in charge for loading the weapons. Yes, girl, yes. She's going to be convicted. And she was in charge for checking that the rounds were blunt and not alive. Oh, yeah, she's done. She's done. And Seth Kinney, the most reclusive of the group, who was the owner of the prop shop used by production. So it looks like they for sure have 3 individuals on the board. Now, who's this lady, y'all? Let's see who she is. I don't know who she is. Oh, here's Hilaria Baldwin emerges from a New York apartment on Thursday while awaiting a decision from Santa Fe prosecutors on whether her husband, Alec, will be charged with Rust shooting. Okay, so this is his glamorous wife, y'all. She is all bougied and all dolled out, y'all, living her best life off that Alec Baldwin money. Okay, I wish I had me a actor for a husband. I could be looking so lavish like that. I'm just saying. Look at her. She all dolled out, little fancy shoes and fancy little outfit with her little fur. Okay, girl. Okay, Hilaria. We don't need to be mad at Hilaria because she had nothing to do with this. Halls has never spoken in the media, but he countersued Baldwin last year and denied responsibility. Wow, Halls went and sued Alec Baldwin. I didn't know that part, guys. The assistant director, Dave Halls, is the one that handed the gun to Baldwin for the fatal scene. But he has the nerve to turn around and sue? Make it make sense. You handed the gun to Baldwin. You're just as culpable in this. Wow, guys, people don't want to take responsibility. My gosh. Gutierrez-Reed denied responsibility in a series of statements from her attorney. Again, denied responsibility. If anything, she was one of the most culpable because she was supposed to check to see if there were live rounds, and she completely failed. Yes, most definitely she's responsible. How dare she deny responsibility? The lack of empathy, guys. Kennedy has been the quietest, shying away from the ferocious public attention on the case. But in his interview, he immediately blamed incident on Gutierrez-Reed. So it looks like we're playing the blame game, guys. Everybody blaming somebody for it. She wanted to shoot live ammo out of the guns. What? So Gutierrez was trying to shoot live ammos out of the gun, guys. That was her problem. TV movie guns. I said no F way, obviously. And then she acknowledged. So it sounded like that girl who's being sued, she was the one that was trying to promote shooting live rounds. So when they told her no, did she just be defiant and just lie and say that it was not a live gun when she knew in fact it was? See, yeah, I don't know. Again, I don't know if that's what happened, but it sounds like she was wanting that to happen, in my opinion, based upon this comment that she wanted to shoot live ammo out of the guns. Down below right, you did see where she said, "I'm going to shoot them out of mine now," he said, referring to the text between the pair. Wow, guys. So there's actually text messages showing that girl, Miss Gutierrez, let's go back and look at her real quick, just in case y'all forgot how she looked. Miss Gutierrez here, just showing her little gun off. There's evidence in text messages where she was talking about wanting to shoot her gun. Wow, guys. Oh, she's caught red-handed. October 21st was the shooting day. While filming their Western movie Rust on the outskirts of Santa Fe, Alec Baldwin accidentally shot Helena Hutchins and the director Joel Souza on set. Baldwin had been practicing drawing his gun from his holster. The bullet pierced Sousa's shoulder but fired directly into Hutchins' chest. No, she was rushed to the hospital where she was later pronounced deceased. Took to the shock and horror of the film and cast crew. But it was so predictable, guys, because of all the mishandling. Just so predictable. Allegations of an unsafe set and walk-offs by disgruntled crew. Ooh, let's hear what they have to say, y'all. In the immediate aftermath of the shooting, it emerged that the production was plagued with staff complaints. You see this? This right here is what's going to get them. People have been complaining. That shows the foreseeable factor, and that shows the gross amount of negligence that they had because of the foreseeable nature of this tragedy. Days before the incident, several members of the crew even walked off of the set. Their complaints included concerns over Dave Halls, the assistant director who'd been accused in the past of running unsafe sets. So Dave Halls has a record, y'all, of running unsafe sets. So yeah, he definitely needed to be charged. Okay, definitely, because he's going to keep doing it otherwise if he doesn't. Some said they were forced to sleep in their cars next to the set. Really? That's so big. Because hotel rooms next to the set were too expensive. Instead, their rooms were booked in Santa Fe, which is a 30-minute drive between Bonanza Creek Ranch, the location of the set. Okay, let's see his interaction with the police, y'all. Let's take a look at this and see what's going on.
In the room when the lady went.
The gun, yeah.
Okay, alrighty.
What do you need?
Well, I know your name, so it's
okay?
Let me get with my lieutenant and see where we want you to hang out. Okay.
Whatever you want.
Yes, sir. All right. Give me just a second.
You said to me, empty gun. You're ready to shoot. You already was strapped. Yeah. Earplugs. Everything. So, you want water or something? Man, I want to find props and get a cigarette. I got one. What do you got? You got medium? I'll take it.
As of right now,
They cleared the gun outside to get a cigarette. I got one. What do you got? You got medium? I'll take it.
As of right now, her status is questionable. That's why we called the airline.
They cleared the gun outside after his request, and I witnessed them clear it and saw the kids.
Okay. So
the one that was missing, the one that fired, we don't know. But all the other ones were proper. They had loads. They were loaded with flames. Well, they had loads. They didn't know. They were supposed to do their shake fast. See, every Christian you give you the empty gun. You don't have any of the loads. So that's hot until we're ready to shoot. So we put the earplugs in.
see, they're trying to stabilize her vital signs enough for the flight.
Sure.
And administer any kind of narcotics or anything they need, blood thinners, that may be. Then they'll load her up in the helicopter and they'll fly her there. I believe the other ambulance is on the other side. And he seems to be doing better than she was, so they might drive him in an ambulance.
I heard him wave off the other bird, so. Both of them took it in the shoulder.
In the room with no.
I mean, just looking at his demeanor, he didn't really look like he had any empathy at that time. It just seemed like it was like another day on the set. I just, honestly, let's be honest, I did not really like this man's demeanor on the set after this happened. He didn't seem to really show any empathy. It just looked like another day at the set. He's all, let me get a cigarette, and just smoking and relaxing. And the officer's telling him what the next steps are. And he doesn't even seem like he's even trying to ask, is she okay? Is she going to make it? None of that. It's like he doesn't even care because she's the lower end of the podium in terms of the staff there. And that is very sad. It just seems like sometimes these Hollywood stars, they don't care about, the regular, normal people's human life. They only care about themselves because they have so much notoriety. I don't like that. I don't really admire that video. That video just more so made me more just kind of disgusted with Alec Baldwin, to keep it real. At first, when I first came to talk to y'all, I had a little bit of empathy just given his age, and I know he didn't intend it. But then when we watched that video, just looking at his demeanor, how relaxed he is, like he's just chill. It doesn't seem like he's showing any form of concern for this young lady at all. And it just seems like another day at the set, like he gets his cigarette, just relaxing. The officer's telling him what the next steps are, and it doesn't seem like he's even trying to find out, if she's okay. That's sad. I find that video a little bit repulsive to me, but that's just me. They also complained about long hours. So these are the people who work there. They were complaining about the long hours. They claimed they weren't receiving paychecks on time. It was just a horrible set. It seemed like a horrible just condition as overall. Almost immediately, attention turned to the armorer, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, a 24-year-old whose father was well known in the industry, who had slim experience in the role. So this young lady, Hannah, she was only 24 years old, and she again comes from a privileged background. Her father has notoriety, so she gets to get all these extra privileges and gets to skip over all of the different hierarchies to get this very dangerous position of checking whether to see these firearms had live rounds. And she's, so gung-ho about shooting live rounds that it could have more than likely led to negligence on her end. So again, there was a lot of just lack of checks and balances on this set. They just let this young, inexperienced girl handle one of the most dangerous parts of the set, which is the firearms. This was very predictable. They say a young, careless armorer, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, 24, found herself at the center of the scandal almost immediately. Her track record emerged quickly, with former colleagues rushing to talk about how foolish she was on previous sets. What? How she waved guns around and even handed one to a child actress. So this girl has a record of being completely careless with firearms. A track record, like they didn't even bother to check. Okay, the more I read this article, guys, the less empathetic I'm getting with everybody on this set that are charged. I'm like, yes, throw the book at them, throw them under the jail. They let this girl work on this set with her previous history. Let's read that again. I gotta make sure this is really real, y'all. I'm a little shocked. Her track record emerged quickly. Former colleagues talked about how she was careless on past sets. She waved guns around, and she even handed one to a child actress. And because of just who she is, guys, and that her father is this very well-known man in the industry, she gets all this little preferential treatment. Make it make sense. She hired a group of attorneys who immediately started firing out statements to combat the claims. Hutchins' family turned on Baldwin and they sue. It's impossible to deny the grief and angst written all over Baldwin when he learned Hutchins died. Okay, finally, because I find it hard to believe that he felt any grief, because when he was sitting on that video we just watched, he seemed like he was just so relaxed and didn't have a care in the world. sitting there smoking a cigarette, just enjoying life. I'm like, this woman is shot. Like, you should be standing up. I would, if I did something like that, which I pray I never have to be in that situation, I would be so stressed out. I would be like, let me go in the helicopter with her. Please please do what you can. I would do whatever I would do whatever for this woman or this person to make it. Please let me go to the hospital. Please let me be there. What's going on? Is she going to make it? Like, he's just chilling. He don't care about this girl at all. And he hasn't really, to me, displayed that he cares. He just seems like he's constantly defending himself. He was standing in the parking lot of the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office, having just been interviewed, and was photographed by a photographer for the local newspaper as he buckled and shot in tears while on the phone. Okay, so they're saying Baldwin did cry when he found out that she passed away. Okay, well, maybe he did feel empathy, guys. I just didn't see it. So here's the young lady here, guys. This is sad, man. So sad. I believe this is her son and her husband. Let's make sure we know for sure, y'all. Hutchins with her son and her husband. Right. So this is Hutchins with her husband and the son. I don't know how Matthew could feel comfortable wanting to be on the set as the executive producer. I mean, I would be after his wife was killed on the set. I find that quite interesting, guys, that he actually is willing to do that. I would not want to be anywhere near these individuals, period. And of course, because of their history of not being safe. Shortly afterwards, he released a statement saying, so this is what Baldwin said, "There are no words to convey my shock and sadness regarding the tragic accident that took the life of Helena Hutchins, a wife, mother, deeply admired by colleagues of ours. I'm fully cooperating with the police investigation to address how this tragedy occurred. Initially, Hutchins' widower, Matthew, said Baldwin had been supportive. Okay. But in February 2022, he sued the actor along with other Rust producers, citing reckless behavior and cost cutting that they claimed contributed to her death. Baldwin settled with Hutchins out of court, agreeing to make him an executive producer on the movie once production resumes." See, this is the part where I kind of have a little issue with, guys. I need y'all to chime in the chat to let me know what you think about this. Do you guys think, I mean, it's kind of weird that the husband, after his wife was killed on the set, wants to be the executive producer? Like, for me, I can't let that go. I'm sorry I said it like 3 times already, but I find that weird. I mean, this is where his wife was unalived. There has been history that there's careless behaviors on the set, no safety measures taken. I don't see how he'd be comfortable to want to be there. Like, I don't know. Maybe he wants to be there to make sure there's safety measures that proceed after that. I don't know, guys. I just find that kind of weird, but that's just me. Baldwin's police interview, he insists he cocked the gun but didn't pull the trigger. Baldwin insisted to police that he had been told the gun was cold when it was handed to him, and crucially, that he did not pull the trigger. So he keeps saying he didn't pull the trigger, y'all, but that's unbelievable. "We've done this for 2 weeks and we've done it the right way every day. Right before you shoot, I went to lunch. She disarmed me, Hannah. She always handled the gun. I come back, they hand me the revolver. Hannah, they arm me. You're assuming it's a cold gun. I put the gag in the shot." So he relied upon Hannah. And you already know Hannah was not the best person to rely upon. Let's hear what he had to say in this interview.
I do have some very unfortunate news to tell you. She didn't make it. Yeah. So Joel's still at the hospital, but the other person involved didn't make it. I just didn't want you to hear it outside of here. Is there something we could do for you? Jonah? Would you want Jonah in here with you? you want to.
Matt Hutchins describes the horrifying moment he learned his beloved wife was shot and how he shared the heartbreaking news with their 9-year-old son, Andros. How did you learn that something was wrong?
A member of the production team told me that Helena had been shot, and my heart sank right away. Completely inexplicable to me that it could have happened at that moment. And the first thing I thought, I sat down and I said, I have to get my son, because I had to be with him. I rushed home and on the way decided that we had to go to Santa Fe. And when I got through to the doctor and spoke with him, and he detailed exactly what had happened and that she didn't survive, I mean, I was heartbroken. And I knew that I had to tell my son right away when I saw him. It just had to be very direct and blunt, because going to pick him up and go to the airport to go to Santa Fe, I didn't want him to think that we were going to be seeing her and having fun together and getting his hopes up. I told him, sitting together, that his mother had been shot and died. And of course, he didn't believe it right away. He didn't want to believe it. So,
What did he say?
well, I think that kind of news you just have to say multiple times so that it can be believed. And so he believed it, and we cried together then. Every holiday, Christmas, New Year's, our anniversary, my birthday, Valentine's Day. I mean, every holiday is difficult without her. And for me and Andros.
Alec Baldwin called you afterwards, and it was an embrace and a meal. Tell me what that was like.
Well, I feel like to understand that moment, you have to remember the shock we were in. And I spoke with Mr. Baldwin, and was just looking for a way through the storm.
Did he seem distraught during that time?
There were a lot of emotions, for
Yeah.
sure, on both sides.
Hutchins, who's filed a civil suit against Baldwin and other producers and crew members on the film, now expressing outrage with Baldwin's recent interview, where he says the actor shifted blame over the death of his wife, Helena.
I feel that someone is responsible for what happened, and I can't say who that is, but I know it's not me.
But watching him, I just felt so angry. Just so angry to see him talk about her death so publicly in such a detailed way, and then to not accept any responsibility after having just described killing her.
He said, essentially, he felt grief but no guilt.
Almost sounds like he was the victim. And hearing him blame Helena in the interview and shift responsibility to others and seeing him cry about it, I just feel like, are we really supposed to feel bad about you, Mr. Baldwin?
So do you think that the majority of the blame lays on Alec Baldwin?
The idea that the person holding the gun, causing it to discharge, is not responsible is absurd to me. Every individual who touches a firearm has a responsibility for gun safety. But gun safety was not the only problem on that set. There were a number of industry standards that were not practiced, and there's multiple responsible parties.
The suit, which alleges at least 15 safety practices were disregarded on set, claims there was a wider culture of cost-cutting that ultimately led to Helena's death. In a statement, Baldwin's attorney says any claim that Alec was reckless is entirely false. In your mind's eye, what does justice look like?
Yeah, we're pursuing justice every way we can, with the lawsuit, seeking to hold accountable the people who are responsible for Helena's death, which was totally preventable. In the end, justice won't bring Helena back, but maybe the memory of her can help keep people safe and prevent something like this from ever happening again.
Wow, that was a lot. So, I mean, the first time we got to see Alec Baldwin show some emotion when he was told that she passed away. So that part, you know, the initial notification, it seems like he did have a form of empathy. But after that, and it seems like there was a form of shock, and he embraced Helena's husband, you know, and they had the dinner and stuff. But then after that, it seems like he started going on this campaign trying to defend himself, as Helena's husband said. And that just further drove the dagger into Helena's spouse and her family. Because it's like, common sense, when you touch a firearm, I get it that he's trying to rely on all these professionals. But once you touch a firearm, you're responsible for it. And he still has not recognized that. And he still has yet to take accountability. And it's so sad to see Helena's father on that interview just now. It was really painful to see him talk about, you know, his having to tell this terrible news to his son, who was looking forward to going on the set thinking he's going to have fun. But in reality, he's being told that he's never going to see his mom again. That's so sad. And then also the holidays, you know, having to celebrate the holidays and knowing she's not there. That was very, very hard to hear. Just so sad. It puts a lot of things into context when you see the people affected by somebody's or multiple people's negligence when they had notice of it. All right, like Christina says, how could the husband even go near them? Yeah, that kind of thing is kind of weird. I don't know. Right. And Christina Sofly says his 64-year-old cold, heartless demeanor. Right. It's just like he doesn't care. I'm with Ellen. She said Holly weird. Girl, yes. Yes, Holly weird. For real. Definitely weird. I take the gun out as it clears. So this is somebody else speaking now. Who is speaking here, y'all? Who is speaking? We just do when we stop and do videos, we don't know what's going on. Okay. We've done this for 2 weeks. We already talked about that. And they said, this is Baldwin talking. As it clears, I turn and cock the gun and the gun goes off. It's supposed to be a cold bang. Hutchins hits the ground. Joel Sousa goes down screaming, going, Jesus Christ. I have never seen this before. What came out of that went through her shoulder. She was right into me, he said. Towards the end of the interview, showing a photograph of what was removed from Sousa's shoulder. Wow. Shocked, he says, that's a bullet. Somebody put a live bullet in the gun. He is then quizzed. Did you see the rounds in the gun? He said no, which means he didn't even check, guys. He didn't even take the time. You're supposed to check on your own once you have a gun and not rely on what someone else said. I don't care if you're on a Hollywood set. Have you seen what they look like? I've watched her load and reload the guns many times. Have you seen? Sometimes a casing, it's pinched and closed at the top, and you put the cosmetic round in, and when you know you're going to see, those clay rounds look exactly like a bullet. So cosmetically, you see that in the cylinder. I'm very upset right now, forgive me. So that was kind of like the whole discussion that he had during the investigation. Baldwin's PR offensive, actor denies responsibility for shooting in dramatic AC News. That PO'd Helena's husband. In December 2021, Baldwin, who maintained somewhat of a dignified silence, went on the offensive. This is where he messed up. This is where he messed up, y'all, and where he totally offended Helena's family. He sat down for an interview with ABC where he emphatically denied pulling the trigger and said he's responsible for it because it wasn't his fault. Someone is responsible for what happened, and I can't say who it is, but it's not me. Honest to God, if I thought I was responsible, I might have unalived myself, and I don't say that lightly. So this was here crying on the interview. I'm pretty sure you guys remember that interview. That interview ticked off a lot of people because a lot of people were looking at him like, "Are you serious, boy? Bye." So let's do I think this is here one of the videos. So we'll play this video and see what he did, y'all.
What's up,
Feinstein.
My network has gone kaput.
You tried to save a buck on it.
Not so smart.
Well, there is a smarter way to save.
Oh.
Switch to Verizon.
That's right. For a limited time, get Verizon Unlimited for just $25 a line. Only on Verizon.
Your emotions are so clearly so right there on the surface. You felt shock. You felt anger. You felt sadness. Do you feel guilt?
No. I feel that there is, I feel that.
Wow, right there is where he PO'd me off. The man said, do you feel guilt? He says, no. Are you kidding me? You callous? Oh my gosh, that really, guys, that took me out. When he said no, I was done. He said no. Are you serious? I'm done. How could he say that? No wonder the family was mad at him. But I don't get how the husband would want to even be in the same room with this guy. I would have did some things to him. I'm just saying.
That you felt anger. You felt sadness. Do you feel guilt?
No. I feel that there is, I feel that someone is responsible for what happened, and I can't say who that is, but I know it's not me.
Baldwin now awaiting the outcome of the sheriff's investigation, hoping whatever it uncovers helps to ensure a tragedy like this never happens again.
What do we come out of this learning? What do we come out of it? What changes can be made? Because where you have a person, where, as I said, this is 1 in a billion, that someone puts.
But see, the fact that he doesn't feel guilt shows me that he didn't do self-reflection to figure out where he went wrong, which means he didn't learn from the mistake, which means he is more than likely going to do it again. Because the lesson he should have learned is that he had a responsibility once he had that gun to use it in care, to check for himself independently, to make sure there were no live rounds, to make sure he wasn't pointing it at an actual individual when he had it, to make sure he wasn't pulling the trigger, so many different things. But for him to say he didn't feel guilt, guys, I'm still stuck on that. That really takes me over the edge. It's like this guy didn't even feel remorse. So I'm really glad the prosecutor is charging him, because if he's not willing to even come out and say he's sorry and take full responsibility and know his part to play in it, he is literally shifting the blame on everybody else when he had his own independent responsibility. You cannot rely upon Hannah or these other people, Mr. Halls or whatever the guy's name is. You can't rely upon these other individuals to check the gun. You need to check yourself, Mr. Baldwin. I'm done with him, y'all. I'm done with my empathy for him. I started out this live feeling a little empathetic, but that's all out the window, y'all.
A real bullet in the gun. That never happens. And the idea that a real bullet was in that gun and would come out of that gun and kill them, that was not even in the realm of possibility. And that's the thing that they must find out, is who brought bullets onto the set.
First of all, Alec Baldwin. Okay, I'm not going to watch any more movies from him anymore. I'm done with him. First of all, there were complaints, people leaving the set because of the repeated dangers on the set. People have been complaining about it. Do you mean to tell me he didn't hear any of those complaints? Second of all, this has happened before. There was another actor on the movie called The Crow. I think it's called The Crow, where the star actor was shot dead on the scene, or shot dead in that movie, because on the set of that movie, because they didn't take, check for the firearms and stuff like that and clear it. So it's happened before. So you would think other Hollywood sets would be more careful, and he hasn't. And he still is not showing any empathy. I'm disgusted right now. And I didn't watch this interview. That's why y'all get my live reaction right now. But I'm disgusted, completely disgusted by this guy. Seriously, the privilege of this man, just because he's a celebrity, he think he could just walk around and shoot people and get away with it. Seriously. Oh gosh, I can't wait for this trial, and I can't wait for him to be convicted. And I'm just saying. Baldwin, after the interview aired, posted a photo of him cradling one of his 6 young children. Wow. So it's like you get to cradle your children, but That's like a slap in the face to Helena's family, because she doesn't get to, hold her kids anymore. Wow, ugh. No matter what happens to me, no matter what I suffer, if I win or lose anything, no one can take away from me the joy and the love you have given me. He wrote, wow. Oh my gosh, if I was Helena's family, I would be enraged. Like literally, I would want to go find him and like do some things. I'm just saying. These are tough times. The world is choked with fumes of hate, but you have given me a reason to live. Our life with our family is all I care about. Nothing else. Wow. Look at this. He keeps like driving the dagger in. You don't care about anybody else. So it means you don't care about human life. So you don't care how many people you unalive accidentally, quote unquote, as long as it's not your kids. Wow. Wow. The narcissism. Helena's husband was outraged. Okay, he's feeling the same way I'm feeling, y'all. Helena's husband's feeling what I'm feeling. How's he not responsible? He said it in his own interview with NBC. Okay, now I see why Helena's husband. Video recreation of the shooting produced by Helena's family's lawyers. Furious about Baldwin's ABC interview and desperate for answers, Helena's widower and attorney commissioned a dramatic CGI video recreation of the incident. The video showed Baldwin cocking his gun and firing suddenly, going straight through Helena's chest and grazing Joel Sousa's shoulder. FBI releases damning report which claims Baldwin did pull the trigger. In August 2022, the FBI released a damning report into key takeaways was its finding based on forensic analysis of the gun that Baldwin had pulled the trigger in order for it to fire if the gun was cocked, like he said it was. Okay, so the FBI is on it now. The FBI said that in testing, it was possible for the gun to pull of the trigger if the gun was not cocked, but Baldwin had insisted it was the most devastating finding possible for Baldwin, who had so emphatically denied pulling that trigger, y'all. So the FBI proved him wrong. So he basically lied, guys. He lied in that interview when he said he didn't pull the trigger. So here's the last report, guys, from the FBI that was released or dated May 3rd, 2022. It said the victim, Helena Hutchins, explosive chemistry. And they said this document may contain privileged or personally identifiable information, including information related to juveniles and other protected individuals. This document must be afforded the protection required by applicable law, regulation, policies. If you are not intended recipient of this document, please destroy it promptly. So the evidence that they found a lot of cartridges and all kinds of stuff. Y'all, look what they found. Look what they found. They were not playing. Okay. And here's accidental discharge testing that they did, guys. They did a hammer at rest test, decocked. They said with the hammer at rest on a loaded item 2, the revolver of design, when the hammer is at rest on a loaded chamber, the firing pin sits directly on the primer of the cartridge. Interesting, y'all. I'm not about to read all this, y'all. I'll show y'all some of it. Y'all can skim through it. Y'all can pause it. If you guys want to watch it, you can pause it and, read it yourself if you want. The key takeaway was it's based on forensic analysis of the gun that Baldwin had to have pulled the trigger in order for it to fire if the gun was cocked like he said it was. So after they did their full analysis, they determined he did. Okay, y'all. He's immediately to deny it, insisting that it was not trusted finding and that the reasons behind it was shaky, saying the FBI were only able to make it fire once in testing. After pulling, it didn't necessarily mean he was lying. Well, take it up with the jury now. The FBI report is being misconstrued. The gun fired it one time without having to pull the trigger. When the hammer was pulled back and the gun broke into 2 different places. The FBI was unable to fire in her test, even when pulling the trigger, because it was in such poor condition. Attorney said. So his attorneys, they're ready to go, guys. And you know he's going to pay for some of the most prominent attorneys. So this is going to be a very contentious trial. Police interviews. So in their own police interviews, Gutierrez, Reed, Halls, and Kenny tried to blame each other. Orblin. So everybody seems to be trying to blame each other. Let's hear what she had to say, y'all, for herself, because everybody wants to blame everybody else. Okay, nobody wants to take responsibility. Everybody's trying to blame everybody else. It's like, come on now.
Okay. Yeah. The incident occurred, and I like kind of didn't really flinch at it even. And Sarah said, "What was that?" And I said, "I don't know." And Sarah said, "Was that the gun?" And I said, "There's no way that could be the gun." And then next thing you know, I hear like in the earpiece, like set medic emergency, and I'm like, oh, what the hell? And I thought it was like a popper that had blown someone's arm off or something. But I go over to the front of the church and I look in and I see people on the ground and I'm like, oh my God. And I said, was that the gun? And Dave said, yeah, it was the gun. And to which I go inside, scream, and then they yell at me, and then I walk back out. I ask for the gun. Dave brings me the gun.
When you were in there, did you see where the gun was?
No.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. Yeah, so I'm, everyone's kind of staring and looking at me at this point. And walking in and seeing that was super awful too. So I kind of come out here. I'm like over here at this point, kind of away from everything. They brought me the gun. I take all of them out. The first one I take out, I've been discharged. And it was, like I told you, at first I thought it could be one of those old dummies. But it could have been a live round by all means. And once you showed me that, what they pulled out of Joel later, yeah, it kind of seemed more like that. I took the gun and I kept it in my waistband after that.
You didn't go check?
No, I didn't go check the box. I was freaking out, and Brian, my boss, came over at that point, and Brian took me a little further away to, kind of relieve people from looking at me.
And you told Sarah, I didn't want you to leave that out, but you told Sarah to check the box.
I said, check the box, and she comes over to me a little later, while I'm off to the side, and I said, did you check the box? And she said, and we also had collected the other guns, and Sarah took those as well. And then I was like, did you check the box? And she said, yeah, there were some bad ones in there. So after I had trained with Alec was the only actor I trained that day, and I was thankfully able to step away from props for a little bit in order to train Alec that day at the church, and we practiced some of his stuff. Other than that, he was really distracted. He was on the phone a lot, and his holster wasn't available for him to practice with that day. So I told him the next day we should practice. With the holster. And he said, yeah, I agree. I will see you tomorrow. I'm also writing for...
Wow, y'all, she had the nerve. You see her already trying to shift the blame, talking about he wasn't paying attention. He was a little bit distracted. He had his mind on everything else. Look at she already try to set up the blame game. Here she go. And then she doesn't seem to have any empathy in her voice. Again, I just feel like some of these Hollywood weird people, they are so privileged. They just seem like they always feel like everybody else has to bow down to them. But here you can see already she's starting to shift the blame over to everybody, to this, to Alec.
Versus tomorrow, so we'll do that too. And I said, okay, cool. And I told Gabrielle, and Gabrielle was all like, Gabrielle was basically like, I'll handle Alex. Because, you know, Alex is a producer, kind of does whatever he wants, and so the other producers have to reel him in all the time. So for him to ask for another armor a day, which is only like $16, for him to ask for another armor a day, they were trying to like X-nay it. Yeah.
Did you ever put,
Did you hear her again? She tried to blame people. Oh, he was out of control. You have to reel him in. Oh, she is really, she tried it. She tried it.
Yeah, it's a lot of text between me and Gabrielle, but other than that, mostly the next morning, when he was supposed to show up for his lesson, he comes to set, doesn't really say anything about his lessons. The producers are telling me, like, you know, no, like, we don't want him doing this lesson this day. I had already talked to them about it, and I said he needs to practice, and I was telling Nathan, and Nathan was like, you called it. I said he needs to practice with his holster, otherwise he might, like, honestly shoot himself in the arm or get really pissed off and have a whole ass hissy fit. And it happened, actually, a little after that. Nathan was like, you called it. And I said, yeah, I did. What happened? He tried to pull from his holster. It got caught on his microphone, and he got so pissed and threw a big ass hissy fit and started bitching at sounds. Thankfully, I didn't get that.
This girl is so messy, guys. I don't know if you guys are catching all the shade she's trying to put on everybody else, to shift on everybody else. It seems like nobody who's responsible in this is trying to take responsibility, period. And it's really disgusting and sickening. You know, at first, when this whole tragedy happened, guys, I was kind of in the middle. I felt empathy for both sides, but more empathy for Helena than anything. But now I'm like, I'm 100% Helena side, and like, I'm totally like done with the rest of these people. They just seem like none of them are trying to look at the overall situation to see where they were accountable. A life was lost, and whether you have to take responsibility criminally and face that, they should be able to be held. They should be able to admit to that. Admit to where they were wrong and be responsible for it. And this girl is so messy because she's trying to blame everybody else and make everybody else look bad when she was the main person who said it was cleared and the gun didn't have any live rounds. That was a very monumental aspect of this tragedy. Hi, Amazing Tribe. Hi, love. All my favorite people are in here. Oh, look at it. Alice says she hungry. Girl, you're too cute. Girl, get you some food while you watching, girl. Amazing Tribe says some set literally put a very real bullet into the gun. That now evidence. Okay, wow, they do? Really? Y'all over here talking about food. He said Hawaiian barbecue. I'm done with y'all. Look at all this food in the chat. Y'all got me hungry. Oh, God. You guys are a mess. I love y'all. Let's hear what the rest they got to say.
I didn't get the last.
Okay, y'all, I think that was the last of the interview, so we'll move on to the next part of it. But again, she looked real messy. She's not taking any accountability. I find that quite disgusting to me. I feel like I'm glad the prosecutor is filing charges on all of them, and I think they should throw the book at each of them. Seth Kenny insisted that the fault lies with Gutierrez. He said was very happy and eager to fire live rounds, and that was the girl we just saw her interview. And she was, based upon they're saying there's text messages that where she said allegedly that she wanted to shoot live rounds and she wanted live rounds on there. So I question whether she really checked that gun. And I also question, did she already know the live round was in there and she just did it because out of defiance, being defiant, and also based upon allegedly her history, They said that her history was of her being very negligent on prior sets. So yes, she has a very significant role of responsibility, and the fact that she's trying to shift the blame and be messy is quite repulsive to me. Ugh. She wanted to shoot live ammo out of the guns, the TV movie guns. I said no effing way, obviously, and then she acknowledged. Down below, right, you did see them out of mind now, he said, referring to the text between the pair. So you see that this girl was gun happy, y'all. So yeah, she's responsible. Now she's trying to act like she's all innocent and trying to blame Alec and everybody else. No, you need to take your responsibility in this. And it's just the way these people are behaving is like everybody's just trying to deny. Ugh, right. He told police that the fault lay with Baldwin, who was distracted and on his phone during training. And we just heard her say that, trying to blame him for everything. Now, yes, he has some part in it, but all of them are responsible, y'all. Every last one of them. So I have a with this lady, this Mr. Fine, hockey, just is so privileged. She's so used to getting away with thing. I hope all these people be held accountable. So it scares and puts the fear of God in these other celebrities out here who think they can just get away with anything, y'all. But then again, I still question whether Alec Baldwin is going to truly be held accountable, meaning at maximum, he faces 5 years in prison, but I highly doubt he's going to get the maximum. But okay, it depends on his subsequent behavior. If he's going to continually be defiant, maybe he will. Who knows? But I don't know. I kind of doubt maybe he'll get 2.5 years. I'm curious to hear from you guys to figure out what you guys think. What kind of sentence do you think these three individuals should get? What kind of sentence do you think Gutierrez should get? Tell me in the chat what kind of how long you think she should be in jail. At maximum, she can face 5 years in prison. What do you think is a reasonable sentence for her? And why? I want to hear your reason why. And also, what type of sentence do you think Baldwin should face? You know, the 64-year-old man. Do you feel like he hasn't taken responsibility? What do you think? He has a whole baby right here. Let's say kid. And he's living all this privileged life, y'all. What kind of sentence you think and why? Do you think he should get the maximum? What kind of sentence you think is justified? Does his subsequent behavior, do you think we should take that into the analysis of his sentence? But look at him with his new baby and just enjoying his life. Well, Helena doesn't get to have any kids. So let's see what he, how his life is living now. All right, it looks like we're having connection issues, but oh, how cute. That's a cute little baby. So that was from their Instagram of their kids. I can't say that girl's name for anything. I'm not going to slaughter her name. But Baldwin's wife put that on her Instagram, y'all. They are just living their best life and showing their kids and parading their family around. While it's kind of like a mockery in the face of Helena's family because they don't get to experience these new experiences that, Baldwin is just showing everybody in the world, y'all. It's just disgusting. And guys, just a disclaimer. All the individuals that we discussed today are presumed innocent until proven guilty in the court of law, and all of the content that has been provided are alleged opinions, entertainment purposes only. But I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say because I really came on this live to hear your perspective, not really me babbling on for an hour. So hi, Alicia. How do you say? She said, we have to assume he's going to use his acting skills at trial. Girl, Yes, exactly, Alicia. You know he is, girl. You know he gonna put on a Hollywood act of him crying on the stand, and he gonna be crying so profusely and being dramatic and just, I never meant for this. And you guys, I don't even think he cares. This man is a narcissist. He comes off as a narcissist to me. The fact that when the reporter asked him, "Do you feel guilt?" and he said no, I was absolutely disgusted. I'm like, so you mean to tell me you're not taking any type of responsibility at all? Are you serious? Amazing says Baldwin should get 10 years for being a okay, but Amazing, we only have a maximum of 5 years, so you got to choose within the time frame, sweetie. But he does have a more enhanced aggravated charge, so he could possibly face no. Yep, I think they said he said 20, the court weapon coordinator gets 20 years in prison. No, you got to choose within the 5 years. Amazing. You didn't listen. Oh, Amazing's birthday's today. Oh no, happy birthday, sweetie. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Amazing Tribe, the coolest moderator, and he always so here and faithful and committed. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Oh, and I love pizza. Y'all about to have me have pizza tomorrow, y'all. Dang, I'm hungry. Ellen, you over here, girl, y'all talk about food. Y'all ain't right. You guys are not right. We're over here talking about a serious matter. You guys talking about pizza. Some on the set literally put a very real bullet into that gun. Exactly. I feel like it was Gutierrez because she was so trigger happy. She really was insisting on putting a live round in there. I just feel like she's responsible. Y'all not participating. Oh, hi, Diana. Diana says it was best that he didn't do that interview. Girl, he should have just been quiet. Exactly, Diana. In my opinion, I agree with you on this. She said it was the best that he didn't do the interview until after the investigation and without a lawyer present. Girl, he should have not said anything at all, Diana. He made the whole situation worse when he went and did that interview because he showed how a lack of empathy. Okay, a lack of empathy he had, which made the family enraged. Okay, I like what Amazing Tribe said here. He said, you're always supposed to check the gun to see if it's clear. If a prop manager is going over firearm safety, etc., actor Alec Baldwin should have been right there paying attention and checked himself. Exactly. And I like that you guys are saying some good points. Everybody in the chat is very articulate and giving very rational opinions. I love it. Diana Ortiz says, why use a real gun on the set? Right. Why not use a prop? You can find a prop that looks legitimately like a gun, but not use a real gun. Like, I'm like, seriously. Like she said, you can use a CGI and sound effects to make it look and sound like a real gun. Right, Diana? What was the necessity to use a real gun? That's where they messed up. I really feel that they should throw the book at all of them, y'all. Right. I'm with Christina. She said, how can the husband even go near them? Exactly. I'm with her. I just think that's crazy for the husband to try to go. Okay. Shoot, I liked Alicia's thing, which I got to put her comment back up because Alicia said we got to assume he's going to use his acting skills. Girl, I could have had to put you up again because I agree. The weapon, nobody's told me a sentence except for Amazing Tribe. Thanks for participating, Amazing Tribe. Yeah, rest in peace to Helena. Condolences to her husband and her family. That's the whole purpose of this live. It's just so sad that we remember her. Guys, this is all around a very sad tragedy, heartbreaking and uncalled for. All right, guys. Well, I hope you, he says, Queen Esquire and everyone, thank you for the beloved, amazing birthday wishes and blessings. Thank you. And you over here talking about food got me hungry and stuff. Shoot, I'm supposed to be going to bed. Y'all got me hungry now. Now I'm going to have pizza tomorrow. All right, guys. Have a wonderful night and be blessed. Take care.
Bye.